Hey friends, thanks for joining us at the Range Report. And, you may have noticed as of late we've been uploading a lot of YouTube short videos. Just little snippets here and there, some of our favorite firearms, features, all the rest of that good stuff. Well, one of the things we did yesterday was film a bunch of shorts about budget handguns and what the features are, what the availability is, what the price range is, and our general thoughts on them. And we did a video yesterday. I'm not going to disclose the name of the company just yet because we're still trying to, want to wait till we hear a response. But while we were filming one of the videos, at the conclusion of it, we decided we were going to expand on one video and do a cleaning and maintenance video based on this particular line of firearms. They're a little bit of a different breakdown than others, and we wanted to give everybody the sense of what's entailed in maintaining and cleaning the firearm. Uh, it didn't go so well. In the process of breaking down one of the guns, or should I say, in attempting to break down one of the guns, we had a really severe slide lock on one of the firearms in question that we had to put in our tipped-in vise and beat the whole hell out of it with a rubber mallet to get it loosened up again. Once we were able to loosen it up and break it down, we gave the gun a thorough inspection, went through everything, cleaned it thoroughly, and we couldn't see a reason or rhyme as to why the gun locked up the way it did. So we reassembled the gun, we put everything back together, we cycled a bunch of dummy rounds through it and everything was functioning fine, no problem. Couldn't figure out what the issue was. And maybe it was a little piece of brass stuck in there somewhere, we don't know. Maybe something fell out while we were, beating on it. Not really sure what the hell was. So we just chalked it up and just said, that's late, put it back in the box, we'll get at it tomorrow. Well, today is tomorrow, and we took the gun out of the box this morning and went to rack the slide. Just again, no one's touched the gun, nobody's in near the gun, but protocol says, clear the gun. So we go to clear the gun, and we can't move the slide at all. Now, mind you, when we put it in the box yesterday, the slide was functioning. After the original malfunction, but when we put it all back together, everything was functioning just fine. Uh, Squeezed the trigger, did a function check, everything was perfect on it. Everything was great. Put it back in the box, and overnight, the leprechauns or poltergeists or demons, whatever it was, came in and cursed that gun and said, nope, not today. So we filmed the video, sent it off to the manufacturer, to our contact over there, and we're waiting to get a response to find out exactly how they would like us to proceed with it. Now, the problem that we're having is sort of a conundrum. We don't like having a malfunction and then not letting you know about it immediately. But we're also stuck with the fact that this might not be a manufacturer's issue. This might not be a form or function. There might have been something we missed, and we may have caused the malfunction. We don't know yet. We want to send it back in, have them address it, look at the gun, find out what the problem is, and if it's on their end, correct it. If it's on our end, let us know. If it's, a one-off problem, fine. We'll chalk it up. But the thing is, we think highly of this manufacturer because it is an American brand. It is made here in America. There's American jobs, American company at stake. So the last thing we want to do is go crapping all over a company if it's not their fault, especially if it's not their fault. Now, if it turns out to be their fault and they can correct the issue and notify us what the issue was and let us know whether it was systemic or just isolated to that particular firearm, or if it's something that we did, we'll address it at that point. We don't want to malign a company or their manufacturing process or the product that they have until we know for sure exactly what the problem is. Now, you may have heard us say on the channel before that when we believe that when you get your firearm and you take it out of the box, reliability is key. That is the number one issue that we're concerned about. Accuracy is dependent upon two things: the shooter and the firearm. So if we say, a gun's not accurate, well, it could just be as easily be the shooter is not accurate. If the gun is accurate, the gun is only going to be accurate as the person handling it. It's reliability. That's the number one key factor, because it doesn't matter to us whether you're buying a $95 380 from some manufacturer or a $5,000 or $6,000 competition 45 race gun from some elite manufacturer. When you load that firearm and you squeeze the trigger, it needs to go bang, and it needs to do it every single time, and it needs to do it reliably, predictably, because it doesn't matter what frame of money you can afford to spend on a firearm. The last thing that you need is to have what you believe to be something reliable turn out not to be reliable the moment you need it to be reliable. Because while we all enjoy going to the range and spending a couple hours out from time to time, and slinging lead and having fun and target shooting and all the rest of that stuff, a malfunction on the range, so long as it doesn't hurt somebody, is not a big deal. It's not a big deal. You have a stovepipe, a failure to fire, a failure to feed, a failure to eject, extract, whatever the case is. It's not that big of a deal. You're on the range. It becomes a bigger deal if you're competing. But it is never a bigger deal than when you need your firearm. And that is the number one purpose of your firearm, is to be a useful, reliable tool the minute you need it. It doesn't matter if you just took it out of the box when somebody breaks into your house and you need to use your firearm. It doesn't matter if you've been carrying it in that holster for a year and somebody attacks you and you need to use your firearm. When you draw that firearm and you squeeze that trigger, it needs to work every time. Now, you've heard us talk about, well, we don't like break-in periods on gun. And, to an extent, that's true. Imagine going to your local car dealership and you buy a brand new vehicle, and you drive away from the dealership you bought the vehicle, and 50 miles later the car breaks down. You get it started again, you drive another 50 miles, it breaks down. And you call up the dealership and you say, what the hell's going on with my car? And they go, oh, well, you got to put 5,000 miles on it before it's really broken in and reliable. You'd return that car in a heartbeat. So for somebody to talk about that break-in period, all right, a lot of people on the lower end of the income spectrum who buy themselves a firearm might not be able to afford to run a full case of ammo through that firearm before they determine whether or not it's reliable enough for them to put their life on it, to put the life of their family on it. A lot of people can't afford to do that. Some of us, we can afford to do it. Some of us, it's our job to put 1,000 rounds of ammo through a gun before we bring it to you and let you know what we think about it. That's what we're doing this for. We know that when we buy that firearm, X amount of hundreds of dollars is going to go into making sure that that firearm works. Most every single gun that we bring you on the channel, unless it says first shots, has already gone through at least 200 or 300 rounds of ammunition before we even turn the camera on. Well, I should say before we present that footage. We always record the first shots anyway, because in case there is a catastrophic failure and it is a manufacturing defect, we want to make sure that we cover it and that we can explain it and we could show it to you if the manufacturer fails to respond to the problem that occurred. A couple of times we've had manufacturers that we've addressed the situation with and we said, hey, this was a problem. And they said, hey, no problem, we'll correct it, we'll get on it, and we'll get on it today, and they do. In other cases, companies that shall remain nameless, they didn't give a damn. They didn't give a flying crap. They didn't care whether or not we had a defect. They said, oh, send it back. And we would send it back, and they would send it back absolutely untouched, unfixed, unrepaired, and say, oh, it was the shooter's issue. Well, we would later go break the whole gun down apart, find the issue ourselves, correct it, and then do another video about it in full function form, telling you what we had to do to repair the gun. Manufacturers like that do not deserve your hardworking dollars, and they sure as hell do not deserve your trust and faith that their firearm is going to be reliable when you need it to be reliable. Now, the company that we have the problem with this firearm, we have several of their firearms, okay? A couple of them that they sent to us and several that we purchased. We have never had a problem with any of them in the past. A problem of any significance. We've had a couple of, where we would run, factory ammo and then reloads through it because we want to see how it would react. And we've had a couple of, reload ammo didn't extract all the way, didn't eject all the way. All right, more or less, that's probably the ammunition. We've done a couple of other tests where the gun, a magazine didn't lock, the slide didn't lock back on account of the magazine. All right, not really that big a deal. The gun still went bang when we pulled the trigger. But the gun that we have now is a paperweight. We literally cannot open this gun up. We can't. And believe me, we tried. I mean, without breaking out the torch and breaking out the sledgehammer, we tried everything we could to get this thing open, and it just doesn't open. I don't know how they're going to address it at the factory. They may just send us another one. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. But I still want to know, well, what the hell caused that? Because if that's a problem with the line, they need to address the problem with the line, because there's probably thousands of people out there that are either carrying that firearm, have it in a purse, have it in a jacket pocket, even though it should be in a holster, or sitting on their night table or in the drawer by the nightstand, and it's wherever. There's thousands of people that have that firearm and probably rely on it because that's the one they could afford. They couldn't afford $700, $800, $900, $1,000, $2,000. They could afford a couple of $300, and hopefully that's the gun that works for them when they need it to. But if this is a problem with the line, the company needs to address it. It doesn't matter to us, and like I said, we don't sugarcoat nothing. We've had very, very few guns sent to us here at the Range Report. Most every gun that you've seen us, that we've brought to you, we have bought. And we don't have sponsorships. We don't have people giving us money. We're not making anything from YouTube, so it's not like we got a whole shitload of cash running around over there. What we have is what we own, and what we bring you is what we bought. And the couple of guns that have come to us by way of manufacturer that know us, know our channel, that say you're always honest about everything. Here's our gun. Tell everybody what you think about it. And we've had great response from the community. We've had great, everything that we've done, great experiences. This is the real first time that we've had an extreme failure of the nature like this. And we're going to see what happens. But, in the comment section below, please, guys, chime in what your thoughts about this saw. Let people know. Is the reliability of the firearm your main concern? Is it the price? Is it the accuracy? Is it the ergonomics? Is it the comfort? Is it the features? Is it the color? Is it what kind of, doodads they include in the case? I don't care what your primary function for buying that firearm was. Where does reliability rank for you? Because as far as we're concerned, it's way the hell up at the top. All right, I don't think there's going to be any more. And believe me, we've got $3,000 guns that don't function worth a shit. I mean, they want a specific ammunition, they want a specific weight, a specific charge. Everything's got to be under just the right conditions. The moons have to be aligned. The stars got to be aligned. Everything's got to be perfect for these guns to work. And they're boutique guns. And then we've got, $100, single action army guns that every time you cock the hammer back, it fires. All right. So when you get cheap guns that are more reliable than expensive guns, it says something about the expensive guns. But if you think about it under these terms, you go to Lowe's and you look for a light switch to turn a light on. And you got a $99 light switch and a $5 light switch. You expect that the $5 light switch is going to function every single time for the next 30 years that you install that into your wall. You might expect that the $99 one might work a few years before it, starts fouling out a little bit. The springs get a little weak. It might stop working. In either event, neither one of those light switches should be responsible for setting your house on fire. Okay? That's a critical failure of either light switch, regardless of the price. Regardless of the price of the firearm that you buy. And people will say, oh, well, you get what you pay for. Not everybody can afford $1,000 for a gun. So when somebody buys something and that's what they're giving their hard-earned money to, in the hopes that that thing is going to be used to, well, I should say they don't hope they should ever use it. Most of us don't ever hope we're in that position. But if we do find ourselves in that position and we need to use that firearm, we have to know in our heart that that thing is going to work, regardless of price. Regardless of price. Firearms are not just a commodity. They're a tool to defend your life with, and regardless of the price, it should function. Maybe not function the great, maybe the trigger sucks, maybe the grip doesn't feel the greatest, maybe the magazine doesn't have the high capacity, it's a pain in the ass to rack. Whatever the drawback of an inexpensive gun is that you're expecting, functionality is not one of those drawbacks. It should work every single time, regardless of price. I don't know. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. You guys be the judge. You guys put it in the comments down below. Like, share, subscribe, all the rest of that, the good stuff. And, you guys be safe. Shoot straight.